Okay, this is a 1974 boat. We are going to change the boots and the bearing, and to get these pins out, which are right here on the side. There's one on each, so that the transit can pivot. These are kind of tricky because this is a press pin with a lock pin that goes horizontal to the pin inside. I did pull out the other side already, so you could take a look at what it will look like when you do get it out. That is the actual pin from the opposite side. If you notice, there is a hole going through the end of it. When this goes back in, it does have to be lined up exactly horizontal. When it goes back in, this is that same pin. This would go in, and you would make sure that this hole goes straight across. If you want, you can even take a marker or something and just draw a line from the front. It basically looks like a nail. It goes in from this side, and you pound it through. Once it comes through, you bend it up. I am going to show you how to remove the locking pin, the pin that actually locks the main pin in. And how you're going to do that is you're going to cut the front off. You're going to cut the head off of the pin right here. It looks like a 16 penny nail. The penny nail goes all the way through, and then the end of it is bent. It is hard to get to. You're going to need to push this all the way to one side. If I can find my tools. Where's the punches? They're all gone. Did you put my tools away? I got a guy who puts tools away before you're even done. Alright, so what we're going to do, thank you, Gary. What we're going to do is you are going to try to bend the pin straight in the back by putting a punch on the top of the pin or spike, and you are going to tap down on it till it is straight in line with the opposite side. So you're just straightening out the pin that has been bent over inside. Then you are going to take a pair of dikes, try to make sure they're, good and sharp, and you are going to hold it over to the side. Preferably have a helper with you to just gently put a pry bar in underneath it a little bit right here. Gary, could you hold this for me? He is going to hold that just so I can get the dikes in here, and the nail only sticks out about 1/4 of an inch or a locking pin. We are going to grab it at the closest to the outside or closest to in on the nail as you can get. You're going to tighten up on the dikes, but you're not going to pinch it off. We do not want to cut it off. We just want to grab it and get a grip on it. And then you're going to pull it out a little and then open the dikes. You're going to go in a little closer and repeat this until the spike is, it's a little tough to do. I'm trying to make it so you understand what we're doing here. If you want to come over and look real close, you can see this pin coming out. This is the end of your pin, and you're basically pulling it out. You see all the little lines in it? There it is. So basically all we did is grabbed a little piece at a time until you remove the pin out. It will bend on its own just from the motion of what you're doing. So you can see how close each one of the grab marks are in it. So you're actually trying to grab it to pry on itself to pull out. Once you've gotten it out, now there's nothing holding the pin in except for pressure or press pressure. Now we're going to try something new. I did make a tool to remove it, which is simply just a large nut, a heavy duty washer, and basically a bolt, and I screwed a nut onto it. That's all I did. So we just basically made a cheap, you know, in your junk drawer press. What we are going to do is we are going to take the tool, basically slide the tool on into the hole, just like that. We want to make sure that you're over the pin, not holding it in, but over the pin. So there you go. This is pre-measured to make sure that we have just the right amount of bolt showing right here. I'm just going to back it off just enough to get my wrench on the inside one. There we go. You have the wrenches right in front of you. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wrench, slide it over. If you come in right here, Jimmy, you can see that this is staying still. I'm going back in on the inside one only. That's all I'm doing is turning the inside bolt, using this as a press. Now that I got it in a little bit further, I'm going to switch it to here. Make it easier on myself. Like it. I'm gonna back it off of here so I can see it. I want to just check it to make sure I'm doing okay here. I'm not stripping the pin out. If you have fresh hardware, I'd use fresh hardware on each side. I kind of cheated using the old hardware, but there we go. We see that the pin is coming out, so we know we're on the right track. If you want, you can spray a little bit of PB in there or some kind of lubricant. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up on my main bolt. This one you want to try to keep bottomed out. See how that's kind of loose? We do not want that. You want that main bolt to be in as far as possible. That's probably a good sign, because now I'm tight. Yep, I'm good and tight right there now. I want to make sure that I'm over that in the center. And we're going to press it off again. By the way, this is a 6mm by 1/0 pitch. Very common thread. You have a bunch of it in your junk drawer. And here I am holding the outside bolt to keep it from spinning. And I am turning the inside one to pull that out of there. Looks like I might have stripped it because I'm using old hardware. I am going to, now that I got the pin out, probably about an inch or so, so I know it is moving, and if you make sure this is nice and fresh, you'll be okay. All I'm going to do at this point is finish pulling it out. Just like that. There's your pin if you want to come get a close-up. That's it. That's the pin right there. There's the hole that goes through it. Now we can release it. Here you go, Gary. Now I'm going to take it off so you see it 100%. What I'm going to do that is, you don't want to scratch this pin up because it does have to be reused if you do not have a second pin. So all I'm going to do is gently grab it, not even locking the vice grips, I'm just grabbing it enough to turn the bolt out and take the homemade tool off. But I never lock the vice grips, I'm just kind of grabbing it. What we want to prevent are any marks on your pin, so that when you go back in, it goes in nicely. If you do have any burrs or anything, make sure you emery cloth them, so this pin will go in smoothly. And also clean your center hole out, make sure that's big enough to receive the pin you're using. I suppose you could get away with just using a 16 penny nail, but the ones they use are aluminum, probably to keep them from rusting or whatever. But if you're in a pinch, I think you could get away with a nail, which is what I might actually do, because this pin didn't actually come out very easy anyway, the locking pin, not the main pin. But that's what you get. And then once you've removed both pins, you can see I'm going to be able to take that right off and replace my boots fairly easily. There they are. And I'm pulling this out with the cable because it's the new pre-alpha. So my drive shaft or shifter has linkage already hooked to it, and instead of messing with all this linkage, I left it together. To unhook it in the vehicle is fairly simple. Take your hardware off, gives you a chance to clean the hole out a little bit, and you can see the cable basically wants to come right out of here anyway, fairly simple. So there you have it. That's how you remove those pins that would drive people crazy to try to get out. Hope this helps you.